Well, good afternoon, YouTube. Let's concentrate on driving here for a minute. Good afternoon, YouTube. Gonna go for a little drive here, and I thought I would talk to you a little bit about a subject I hate, really, and that's prepping. I hate the word preppers, because it has certain quasi-militaristic and survivalistic and just connotations that I just don't like. And in my mind, what I'm doing is following the old Boy Scout motto of be prepared. Be prepared for anything that happens. Keep yourself equipped to handle all contingencies. That's what I'm doing. And why? You might say, well, what are you afraid of? What do you think is going to go wrong? Well, I never thought I was going to prepare for a pandemic. I never thought I was going to prepare for the breakdown of civilization, and yet here we are. What I'm preparing for, to be honest, is I live in the Pacific Northwest, along the Interstate 5 corridor. And for those of you who may or may not be aware, this area sits on top of something known as the Cascadia Subduction Zone. And if you don't know what a subduction zone is, you should look it up. It's a geological feature. The strongest earthquakes ever recorded, think Banda Aceh, think Fukushima, Japan. The strongest earthquakes occur on subduction zones. Now you may be saying, well, you're nuts. The Pacific Northwest doesn't have earthquakes. Yes, we do. About every 250 years, a subduction zone slips and generates like a 9.5 earthquake. I'm not sure a 9.5 earthquake. Maybe in Alaska they had one, but they're very rare. At least in the U.S. FEMA and the local governments are not ready to deal with anything like this. But yeah, on the average, 250 years, the whole area gets shaken by about 250 years, the area gets shaken by about a 9.5, 9 point something earthquake. The last one was 320 years ago. That's like sitting there on the 4th of July looking at a firecracker whose fuse fizzled out, and you're wondering, when's it going to go off? When's it going to go off? When's it going to go off? It's best not to think too much about it, because there's not much you can do about it. So what happens when we have this subduction zone fault? 3 major cities are going to be effectively destroyed. Portland, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Vancouver, British Columbia, all going to be ruined. Millions of people are going to be affected. The Pacific Northwest, that being Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, this general corner of the country pretty much gets our fossil fuels, gasoline, jet fuel, diesel fuel, from refineries up in the Puget Sound area, and it's delivered down to Portland via a pipeline. Those refineries are going to be destroyed by the earthquake. So there's going to be no capacity to make additional fuel. Anything else has to be trucked in from somewhere else. Furthermore, the tanks that hold our reserve supply are sitting down by the Columbia River on sandy soils that is subject to liquefaction. Those tanks are going to collapse, and there goes all the reserve supply. Basically, Portland and the surrounding area are going to be out of fuel. There will be no fuel for generators. There's no fuel for construction equipment to rebuild the place. There's just going to be no fuel. And it's going to take 3 months, they say. But if there's no fuel for their for the trucks and the equipment to do the rebuilding, I don't think they factored that in. I don't think they factored in that their equipment isn't going to be able to operate to do the rebuilding. But they say, figure 3 months without electricity, 3 months without running water, and 3 months without natural gas. So 3 months without all the creature comforts you're used to, and where are you going to go? You can't bug out. You've got to shelter in place, because what, a million people are going to suddenly start migrating east? That's just not something that can be done. Where are they all going to go? What's out there for them? So the best option is to shelter in place without all these creature comforts. As terrible as that sounds, that's what's going to have to happen. So that's what I'm preparing for. Or I should say, that's what I'm getting ready for. I've known about this for several years, and I've been working on getting ready for several years. I'm just, and to be honest, there's always an improvement that can be made. So I do not consider myself completely prepared at this point. I keep getting better. Anyway, that's the point of the video. I wanted to just say, you don't have to be a prepper in order to get ready for what lies ahead of yourself. Look at your own situation. If you live on the East Coast, you got to be ready for hurricanes. If you live in the Midwest, you got to be ready for tornadoes or heavy thunderstorms. In the northern part of the U.S., up through New England and even into the Midwest and upper West, Montana, and that area, you got to be worried about blizzards. There's just you just have to take all this into account as to what is the worst that can happen, and how you can prepare for it, and how you can prepare and be ready. Be ready when all these creature comforts go away. So, YouTube, be prepared. Be like a good Boy Scout. Be prepared. Know what the worst can happen. Know what can happen when things go sideways. And do what you can to prepare yourself with food, water, shelter, clothing, whatever you need to get through the worst of what can happen. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to have more videos about this subject. It seems like a timely subject. Hit the notification if you want to see more of these videos. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.